This is a Fairmount about Fairmount, the new Visions Civic League podcast. Hear from guests that matter to you. Real people, real talk, real facts.
Hello, neighbors. Welcome back. And some of you know this face. This is Sonny, one of the officers of New Visions Civic League. But it's been a while since Sonny's been able to show his face because he's not in Richmond currently, which we'll probably talk about. But I wanted to make sure everyone knew who the officers are and why they're here. So, Sonny, what should the community know today?
Yeah, so what I'd love to tell all of my fellow Fairmounters about is just that while I'm not here in Richmond anymore, I'm very much still behind the scenes helping out with anything and everything that I can for New Visions, and whether that's the website, communication that's going on for different meetups and barbecues and things like that. I'm in the back end, just trying to help out because it takes a village, and I'm very much still invested in everything that's going on in this community, and really am drawn to everything that goes on in this neighborhood, and love to just continue to be a part and live that mission that New Visions started off with back in the 90s when it was founded.
Yeah. And for those that don't know, you're all the way in France, and that
That's
could
correct.
lead
Yeah.
some to say that's a very odd choice for a civic association. But the reason is because you are highly invested and you have been highly invested. So how did you first get connected to New Visions, and why have you stayed connected for so long, even from so far away?
I mean, the story was that I purchased my house on Carrington back in end of 2016, I think is what it was. And I think I just joined like the Churchill Civic Association or the Churchill Facebook group. And whoever was president at that time messaged me and just said, "Hey, I'm with New Visions."
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't even know what a civic association was.
Mm-hmm.
And he just said, we're a civic association. We meet at the library. I think at this time it was like Saturday mornings or something. And he said to just come out. And I said, why not? I mean, didn't have anything to do that particular Saturday. And I said, yeah, I mean, I don't know anyone here. Lived in Richmond. I'm originally from California and lived in Richmond for a year at that point. And so I just want, I mean, the catchphrase of just like getting to know your neighbors and all of that is like, well, that's exactly what I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
So showed up, and Mrs. T was there, and I think everyone has the same kind of story, is that she just came right up to me and was super excited that I was there, very welcoming, and basically held my feet to the fire that I would come again next month. So I continued to do so, and the group was I think there was about 10 to 15 of us. And so it wasn't when there's a big group, you're a little intimidated showing up for the first time. And it wasn't as intimidating as I expected, and people were really open. And at some point, I felt very comfortable that my opinion mattered and that people wanted to hear what I had to say. And so I just started to speak up a little bit more. And as I spoke up and gave opinions and voted on different things and stuff, naturally became more and more involved, and cared more too. It's kind of funny how that works. That I don't think if I was invited, I would have even known about it, even known what a civic association really is. And just through participation, I became very passionate about what's happening in the neighborhood.
Mm-hmm. And some of your passion too came from the actual geography around you. I mean, you had a house on Carrington, so you cared about your home, you cared about the street where your home resided. And
Yeah.
Carrington is a very unique street. It has a lot of history. but there's also been a lot of conversation around Carrington. And that's one thing that I've known about you is you've been highly invested in what's happening on that street, not just in front of your house, but the whole street. Some people who have been involved even just the past few years know the role that you've played in kind of leading forward on developments that are happening on Carrington and how that's going to impact neighbors in the future of even just the Fairmount area. And so you could have done this on your own. And in some ways you have done things on your own, but you've also chosen to do this alongside a civic association. What do people need to know about the importance of civic associations in terms of their block, their home? Why is it so important to be engaged?
I mean, I think the biggest importance is your voice is heard much easier. So if you want to shape how things happen around you, that a lot of people think they don't really have much control over, in fact, you do. You do have a say in that, and a lot of times that happens through civic engagement. That's what these groups are for. So, if while you may be able to find the person at the city's email who works on a road or something like that, and you're able to contact them, good for you. It took a lot of effort, I imagine, for you to do that, but all that effort won't go as far as if you actually just talk to someone at the civic association, they agree with you, and they send a letter because they have the relationship. And also when they send something, it holds much more weight. So you've got 100/200 people that are behind that letter versus just your one, and the city's more likely to actually react to that than if you reach out on your own. So, we're always more powerful in numbers, and that's the value I see in the civic engagement and having a civic association in the neighborhood.
Yeah. And you've been an officer for, 2 years now? 3 years? I've lost count. Pandemic timing throws things off. And we've had many conversations about the importance, not just in what you described for people in being involved, but the importance for us as officers and New Visions of having people involved. And what you and I know is there could be all kinds of reasons to not be engaged. This is why you're so fun, Sonny, because you kind of... your existence throws out what many people might normally point to, like, I'm out of town. All right. You're always out of town. You're always out of town. And yet you are engaged. And so for those that aren't necessarily averse to engaging in a civic association, but feel like there are a lot of reasons why they can't right now, how would you encourage them with an easy toe nudge in, an easy first step into civic engagement?
I mean, it's as simple as even an email or a phone call to one of us, to Paul. I mean, Paul, you're sending out monthly emails. You've got this podcast going. It's really that simple. Like just starting a conversation with one of the officers. We're always open to anyone getting engaged in whichever way. They can, and even if that's just staying up to date and saying, hey, thanks for the email, hey, thanks for this, I didn't know about that, you can start with that. And just staying up to date with what's going on, because all of this stuff does impact you day to day. I mean, I think just a simple message is the easiest way to get started.
Yeah, I think that's good. And I just want to just honor you because, again, you're showing that even if you're not physically present, even if you're limited, even if your only engagement has to be virtual, there's still something meaningful about that. And in fact, the role that you've played from afar has been vital to keeping New Visions going in a lot of ways. I mean, you've been a part of not just the website, but a lot of stuff around the finances and so many other areas. And so, if you can do that from France, I think there is a case to be made that anybody can find a way to support and serve what's happening in our community. And so as we close out, do you have any final words for the neighbors?
Just that I'm always thinking about Richmond and, the role that I do have. I kind of just, whatever I can do right now is what I tell Paul, like whatever he needs help with, I'm happy to help. So there's obviously been folks that have spoken up and said, why is Sonny doing this? I'm doing it right now because there's no one that has raised their hand. I'd be happy to hand off a couple of these things for
Yeah.
sure. But it's a pleasure to see the organization continuing, and now that the podcast is happening, I think all this is really cool stuff, and it's important.
Yeah.
So I'm always happy to lend a hand, and excited for meeting new people even from afar.
Mhm.
And next time I'm in town, definitely Paul will have to get a drink or something.
Yeah, let's do it, man. Well, Sonny, I am grateful for you, and I am grateful that when hands needed to go up, you looked around and said, "All right, I'm in. I'm game as long as you need me." So thank you for that, and thank you for helping us be neighbors, helping neighbors.
My pleasure.